Mary had a little lamb.
We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
It's Friday, you bastards.
I promise I will do everything in my power. I will not relent until we beat this virus. But I need you.
Me?
The American people, I need you.
Oh.
I need every American to do their part. And that's not hyperbole. I need you.
Me?
I need you to get vaccinated when it's your turn and when you can find an opportunity.
I tried.
And to help your family, your friends, your neighbors get vaccinated as well.
Oh.
Because here's the point. If we do all this, if we do our part, if we do this together, by July the 4th, there's a good chance you, your families and friends will be able to get together in your backyard or in your neighborhood and have a cookout and a barbecue and celebrate Independence Day. That doesn't mean large events with lots of people together, but it does mean small groups will be able to get together. After this long, hard year, that will make this Independence Day something truly special.
It's Friday, you bastards. It's Friday. So I was in until he said I had to do something, like most Americans. No, I have to tell you, I did the fact check last night. You know how many pages? We always do this. I mean, the Trump fact checks were like, 20, 30, 40, deforesting all of North Carolina to print out those fact checks. You know how long Biden's fact check was? Do you know? Do you have any idea? Did anybody fact check them? Just me, huh? All right. Well, it was 2 pages, and I'll tell you why it was 2. It was 2 because he said that we had more death than in World War I, II, Vietnam, and 9/11. And that's not entirely true. We had more combat deaths in World War I, II, Vietnam, and 9/11, throwing that in there sort of put everybody out of whack because that wasn't exactly a combat death. So that was something that they flagged as not true that he mixed the death in World War I, II, Vietnam, and 9/11 together, and that was bad. And so the Washington Post had to call him out for that. The other thing that they called him out for was this little section here, right here.
When I came into office, you may recall,
I do.
I set a goal that many of you said was that kind of way over the top.
What?
I said I intended to get 100 million shots in people's arms in my first 100 days in office.
Right.
Tonight, I can say we're not only going to meet that goal, we're going to beat that goal, because we've actually on track to reach this goal of 100 million shots in arms on my 60th day in office. Oh! No other country in the world has done this. None.
Okay, so they had to fact check that, and you know what? You know why they flagged it? No, he has surpassed 100 million shots in 60 days on day. Today's only day 58 or something like that, and we've already. So that wasn't it. Was it that we had given more vaccination than any other country on the planet? No, that wasn't it. What it was they said people didn't say that 100 million shots in 100 days was over the top. No, what they said was it would be difficult. I swear to God. They had to write that up in the fact check. And they said the New York Times said the plan was ambitious, not over the top, and that, quote, fulfilling it will require no hiccups in manufacturing or distributing the vaccine and a willingness by Americans to be vaccinated. The Washington Post called it ambitious. USA Today said it was a lofty goal, but no one said it was over the top. That's the difference now between the fact checks. It's like everything he says is pretty much factual. So now they're parsing words like over the top. Well, we said difficult. We said lofty. Is lofty elevated? I think lofty is an elevated, standard. I just think lofty is up there. So that was the fact check on Joe Biden. I mean, and it was unbelievable because, Donald Trump used to tell 22 pages of lies in 22 minutes. Now, Biden gave a speech last night. It was about 26 minutes, and all the facts were correct, except for mixing 9/11 with combat deaths. That was bad. That was bad, everybody. It was bad. Meanwhile, the Republican reaction to this, I love getting you outside of the bubble. I really, because you cannot forget. I don't want you to ever forget that a Trump speech, a 26-minute one, was 26 pages of fact checks, okay? Just remember that. Remember the resistance on testing. He liked the number. You just remember all of it, okay? Because the Republicans were outraged, I tell you. Outraged at that speech last night. I mean, this was just... It was just the strangest reaction I had ever.
Who are you talking to? This is a free people. This is a free country. How dare you tell us who we can spend the 4th of July with?
He didn't tell you, Tucker, you schmuck. He didn't tell you who you could spend the 4th of July with. He told you what would be safe to do on the 4th of July. That's all he did. Okay, there's not going to be any police or any military, which apparently Tucker Carlson despises. I don't know if he despises the military or the women in the military. I don't know if he's conflating service people. I don't know what his deal is, but everybody is like freaked out about how he. You do know he attacked the military, right? But there is going to be no military that goes into your backyard and tells you who you can hang with on the 4th of July. Nor will there be any police knocking on your door telling you who you could hang with on the 4th of July. All Biden did last night was tell you that by the 4th of July, it would be safe to have a 4th of July with friends and family. That's all he did. How dare... Who are you talking to? You looking at me? You looking at me? I mean, he's Travis Bickle. You understand that? He's losing his mind. His ratings are they're being destroyed because nobody wants to hear about Dr. Seuss or Mr. Potato Head or that women in the military are unfit to serve. Oh, you know what, Tucker? What is wrong with you? What is wrong? Did you hear this? This is really sick. Okay, check this out.
That phrase stuck out. Not because we have some hateful bias against pregnant women flying military jets. We're pro-pregnancy, as we often say. We're also open-minded. Maybe pregnant women make the best pilots.
Oh, my God.
The Department of Defense measures everything, so there's got to be extensive research on this question. If the Pentagon can show that pregnant pilots are the best, we will be the first to demand an entire Air Force of pregnant pilots.
Support the troops, anybody? Anybody? Blue Lives Matter, except when we're beating you with an American flagpole. Pro-life, unless we have 526,000 deaths. Oh, my God. It didn't end there either, okay?
So we've got new hairstyles and maternity flight suits. Pregnant women are going to fight our wars. It's a mockery of the U.S. military. While China's military becomes more masculine as it's assembled the world's largest navy, our military needs to become, as Joe Biden says, more feminine, whatever feminine means anymore, since men and women no longer exist. The bottom line is it's out of control, and the Pentagon's going along with this. Again, this is a mockery of the U.S. military and its core mission, which is winning wars.
Okay, frat boy. Time to take it outside. You and me. Let's do it. I see you. I see you and your inheritance from the Swanson TV dinner fortune. Come on, let's go outside. Let's take it outside. Holy crap, man. And that caused collateral damage. Oh, yeah. The whole military, the entire military started attacking him because he's not supporting our troops. It's just like so amazing. So this is who is criticizing Joe Biden, is the frat boys. Okay, the rich ones, the white ones, the entitled ones. I just, wow.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Trader Carlson's got a thing about patriotic women.
So we've got new hairstyles and maternity flight suits.
Get your back straight!
Pregnant women are going to fight our wars. Our military needs to become, as Joe Biden says, more feminine, whatever feminine means anymore.
Appreciate the shout out during Women's History Month, but it's not the first time he's attacked women who serve.
What a coward.
Oh, wow.
Tammy Duckworth is also a fraud. It's out of control, and the Pentagon's going along with this. Again, this is a mockery of the U.S. military.
No, sir. This is the U.S. military. The men and women who defend your freedom. Something a prep school boy like you will never understand.
Damn! First of all, flight suits are cool. They're the coolest gear you could get. I think the only thing cooler than a flight suit is the leather jacket, that, you know, the flight jacket, the leather one. That's like the topical. You know, F you, Tucker. Really, what is wrong with you know, when there's a cruise missile launched, I don't think the enemy gives a damn if the person who pulled the trigger had nail polish on it. What is wrong with you? What exactly is wrong with you? Of course he mistakes the military as the enemy because some of them are women. You know what, Tucker? Here, I want to play you my friend George Hahn. He put this up last night. Let me tell you something. This says everything you ever needed to know.
You know, with this whole Tucker Carlson thing, I think we're overlooking and forgetting something rather important and to me very obvious, and that is this. Tucker Carlson, excuse me, that was disrespectfully incomplete. Tucker Swanson McNear Carlson seems to be under the impression that he's a man.
Done. Done. That was beautifully done, George Hahn. That was beautifully done. And I got to tell you, people from across the military services, like everywhere, from the Pentagon on down to the enlisted people at Space Command, oh, they were just recording and posting.
Drama TV. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what I call it. I'll apologize up front and tell you that I don't have cable news at home. I don't have it here in the office, and I don't watch a lot of drama TV. I understand some comments were made yesterday, and I watched the clip that Mr. Carlson produced as he referred to pregnant women in the military. I'll remind everyone that his opinion, which he has a right to, is based off of actually 0 days of service in the armed forces. Let me offer you my opinion. My opinion is based off of 28 years of actual service in the military, 28 years in the Marine Corps, in combat operations out at sea and in garrison. And so he was talking specifically about pregnant women in the armed forces today and how it makes us less lethal and less fit and less ready. Let me tell you where he's wrong. Those decisions were made by medical professionals, by commanders, and our civilian leadership that allows for women to have more time with their children, to recuperate, to get fit and ready, to take that time that's necessary that our medical professionals know is needed, which actually makes us a more lethal and ready and fit force.
Oh! Yeah, you know what it is. You know what it is, everybody? Freaking hormones. I'll kill you. Wow. That is, everybody was posting. The Pentagon. Oh, my God.
We absolutely won't do is take personnel advice from a talk show host or the Chinese military.
Military women tweeting photos of themselves pregnant in uniform. Woo-hoo. Politicians and veterans like Senator Tammy Duckworth, who lost her legs fighting overseas, praising America's female warriors.
We've served, we've sacrificed, we've bled, we've died for this country, for the freedom, for Tucker Carlson to spout off these falsehoods.
Carlson's comments coming just days after President Biden promoted 2 female generals to 4-star commands, including General Jacqueline Van Ovost.
You're the highest ranking woman in the military. Has that sunk in?
She sat down with Savannah last week, describing how the military is modernizing to be more inclusive.
We're allowing women to fly when they're pregnant. So we did 2 things. We're developing a maternity flight suit, and we developed a 2-piece flight suit.
Nice.
To make it easier.
Carlson, defiant in the face of criticism.
Since when does the Pentagon declare war on a domestic news operation?
But advocates, like the liberal group Vote Vets, out with a new ad, hoping they get the last word.
This is the U.S. military. The men and women who defend your freedom. Something a prep school boy like you will never understand.
Oops. His little culture war caused collateral damage to him, moron. Yeah, let's take military advice from Tucker Carlson. You know, I do have one thing to say about taking military advice from talk show hosts. We elected as commander-in-chief a reality TV star. You see the slippery slope there. You see that there. So that's where it led us. That is where it led us. So that's what Tucker Carlson is talking about. That's what Fox News is talking about. While we're literally fighting the battle against COVID, winning it, waging it for real, winning it for real, and now we're about to cut child poverty in half. And that, my friends, by all estimations, by everything I have seen and heard from the lunatic right wing, including members of Congress and the Senate, is pure evil. It's so evil that they now have to stop us from voting. Because you understand, we will vote for more of this evil. We will vote for more of this cutting childhood poverty in half thing. And that's a slap in the face to Jesus, because Jesus said we'll always have the poor with us. And if we wipe out the poor, then it's slapping around to Jesus. Oh, wait, they're going to go there too. So the only tool in their toolbox left, they can't say, they're pro-life. He just trashed pregnant women, for God's sake, number one. Number two, he obviously doesn't have a problem with more than 500,000 dead people. As a matter of fact, if they're the right people that are dead, it's not a tick. It's actually a perk of the COVID virus. So who's going to cry over 526,000 dead people if they're the right people that died? Not Tucker Carlson. But there goes your pro-life argument. Also, your Blue Lives Matters argument, okay? You can't possibly say that Blue Lives Matter when your people, on the word of a reality TV star, would go beat them and crush them and bear spray them with an American flag in their hand. Oh, my God. So that's out the window. And now they can't say support the troops. They can only say support half the troops. That just ain't going to cut it for the whole of the troops. Listen, women have been in the military since the beginning of the military. It's not going to go away, Tucker. It's not. And you know what I think really bothers him? That I could be 9 months pregnant on my due date, coming off of a C-141 Starlifter, returning from an overseas flight, take him out back and kick the crap out of him. I think that really bothers him. But honestly, that is the culture war.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randi, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
First, tonight, I'm announcing that I will direct all states, tribes, and territories to make all adults, people 18 and over, eligible to be vaccinated no later than May 1.
Yay!
Let me say that again.
Okay.
All adult Americans will be eligible to get a vaccine no later than May 1. That's much earlier than expected.
Yay! So the lunatic right wing, they're going crazy here. There, I said it, Mark Levin.
This speech that Joe Biden gave is the most disgusting, propagandistic speech that a demagogue, even a politician, has ever given. It is pathetic.
Got a mirror? Propagandistic? What is that? Did you actually go to law school for that? You think when I imitate him, there, I said it. No, that's how he sounds, okay? That's how he sounds. It's just very, very sick and twisted. Here's Tim Scott.
and for there to be no ability to share credit on such a day when we were recognizing 520,000 Americans had lost their lives. Thank God for the genius of the Trump administration.
What? I mean, they are beyond the looking. They're beyond help. Okay, here's Hannity.
Joe Biden, he needs to pick up the phone. I suggest call Mar-a-Lago and, yeah, bring unity to the country as he says he so desperately wants, and thank President Donald Trump.
For what? For presiding over the biggest health and economic crisis this country has seen in modern times? For what? What am I thanking him for? You know, listen, the only thing Republicans have ever stood for is removing mask mandates in the middle of a pandemic, okay? Everything that they put on the table to address this pandemic made it worse. Why would we thank Donald Trump or his administration for any of this disgusting, horrific death? I mean, it's just so bizarre. There are food lines like miles long. There are over half a, I can't even stand it, how many people died. And we're supposed to thank him. I don't understand. It's like, what? Please, sir, may I have another land? What are they talking about? Now, if you think it's the vaccine, think again, because these companies like BioNTech that partnered with Pfizer, they were not part of Operation Warp Speed #1. BioNTech is not an American company. And the whole world, I mean, Israel has vaccinated about 98% of its population, and that had nothing to do with Donald Trump. I don't even know what in the world they're talking about there. Propagandistic, and he's a demagogue. I mean, everything he said, that's why I started with a fact check, was true. All right, so let's move on to the economic portion of our mess that poor Joe Biden inherited, all right? Today he was in the Rose Garden. He signed the $1.9 trillion relief package yesterday so that the checks could start going out this weekend. So they did a little Rose Garden, thing today, and told you, exactly what was in it, and started out with Kamala Harris.
The president promised help is on the way, and today help has arrived. Help has arrived for the workers who lost their jobs. Help has arrived for the students who've been stuck at home. Help has arrived for the families that have struggled to put food on their table, and for the small businesses that have struggled to keep their doors open. Help has arrived, America. This landmark legislation will get relief to families, get support to communities, and make sure more shots get in arms. And I want to thank the Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, and Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, and all of the members of Congress who voted for this legislation and helped lead to its success. And of course, we would not be here today were it not for the leadership of our President, Joe Biden.
Beautiful. And the Republicans are against every bit of it. There was not one single Republican vote for it. And I don't know how they're going to, peddle this out in the real world, except, the culture wars. This is why it's important that you leave the bubble and understand what's being said over there, while it's a lie, while it's ugly, while it's, disrespectful, misogynistic, racist, hideous. You need to know what's going on over there, right? Because over here, there's money. There's money, there's vaccines, there's rental assistance, there's mortgage assistance, there's student loan forgiveness, there's all kinds of things. There's an effort to cut child poverty in this country by half. There's direct payments that are going to start hitting people's bank accounts this weekend, okay? There's going to be a child tax credit payment that people with children are going to get month after month after month, recurring payments for the rest of this year, okay? So the Republicans have set themselves up as the party that's against things that help children. They have set themselves up as the party that is against things that help people. In fact, they're the anti-people party. So I don't know how they sell this except through culture wars, by attacking, liberals or using the word socialism or bringing back welfare. I don't know what they're going to say, because to tell you the truth, their voters need this, their voters want this, and their voters in the red states get more out of this than voters in the blue states do. What? Yes, because people in the red states, as a rule, make less than people that live in cities. And so the people who earn less are going to benefit more, because 70% of all the benefits of this go to people making less than $91,000 a year. 70%. And so, yes, people in Republican states are going to benefit from this. How do the Republicans approach these people and tell them that, they're against it, that they don't want to help them? I mean, the Republican Party is this close to going door to door to taking away the $1,400 check. They are this close to saying, and you know what else? We're taking away Netflix. I mean, that's how close they are. They're just like, what are they going to outlaw sliced bread now? Give me your DVR, you bastard. They go after Viagra, they lose every single Republican man, and because their whole support is men over a certain age, let's say. I mean, they are so close to going door to door to taking away people's, Hulu. I don't even know what. How do they? Give me your I swear to God. Rick Scott, the senator, former criminal governor of our state here in Florida, he actually said to the Republican Party people that they need to return the stimulus. He actually said that. He's telling Republican governors that in order to support Donald Trump, they should forego the stimulus, not take it into their states, just deprive these people of their money.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Moments ago,
this law alone will create 7 million new jobs. 7 million. And the bill does one more thing, which I think is really important. It changes the paradigm. For the first time in a long time, this bill puts working people in this nation first. It's not hyperbole, it's a fact. For too long, it's been the folks at the top. They're not bad folks. Significant number of them know they shouldn't be getting the tax breaks they had.
Yes.
But it put the richest Americans first, who benefited the most. And the theory was, we've all heard it, and especially the last 15 years, the theory was cut taxes and those at the top, and the benefits they get will trickle down to everyone. Well, you saw what trickle down does. We've known it for a long time, but this is the first time we've been able to, since the Johnson administration, and maybe even before that, to begin to change the paradigm.
I think he meant 50 years, not 15, but you get the picture, okay? Trickle down does not work. It never worked. I told you we did a whole report the other day where economists across the board looked at trickle down over the last 50 years and figured out that it does not ever trickle down. It doesn't. You know what else this bill does? Oh my God. This bill increases GDP, the growth rate. Donald Trump made a big deal. Oh, if we cut taxes for the wealthy, GDP, you'll see it'll be 4-5%. We never got over 3. Never, ever. I think he had one quarter where it was 3. It was usually 2, okay? 2% growth. 2% growth. This one is predicted to gin up growth by 6.5%. You'll see GDP growing by 6%, 6.5%. Some people who are very bullish about this say 7% growth. 7% growth. That's awesome. And what are the Republicans going to do? Go around telling everybody, give it up, don't take the money? That is what they're doing. That's what some Republicans are doing. They're telling Republican governors, stiff your people. Don't take the stimulus money. Don't take. I mean, they're trying to make it seem as if cutting poverty in this here country for people who work really hard and through no fault of their own got thrown into the deep end of the pool, or people who pre-pandemic were in the deep end trying to do their very level best to feed their kids, do their thing, try and find jobs within transportation distance, right, from their houses, just trying that somehow tax cuts for those people is the work of the devil. It's evil. It's pure evil. Because we need poor people. Jesus said so. And also, we need somebody to blame. And also, when pandemics come, we need them to die for us. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to, do anything for 2022. Every single person in this country understands that they are not about this. They are not for this. I have to tell you, even progressives who are finally having a look-see at this thing are saying, I wasn't completely down with it, but now I've looked at it and I've seen health insurance subsidies, and I've seen $14 billion for vaccines and testing, and I've seen $20 billion go to help low-income households with rent assistance. I've seen the $10 billion that's going to aid homeowners who are struggling to pay their mortgage and their utilities and their property taxes, and $5 billion for those who are at risk of experiencing homelessness, and another $5 billion for those who are currently homeless. The more I look at it, the more I think this is very progressive stuff.
As I dug into the details of the final package, I actually began to revise my own sense of it. And I think a lot of people have, and started to realize that this is it's not perfect. It's not everything. Right. A lot of it's not permanent, which we need to deal with. Yep. But a lot of this is quietly revolutionary, starting with the child benefit that creates the rudiments of a basic income for families in this country. Yeah. Direct cash to families, changes in the tax code that shock of all shocks after 40 years of the reverse actually most benefit the poor. And what a lot of these things, talking about tying things together, what they seem to have in common to me is that they reflect not just new policies, but new thinking, rethinking. In particular, the new notion that has been gaining ground of giving people money directly. Yeah. It's been advocated by lots of people. This policy, this program reflects it. The idea of centering the poor, not just the middle class. Joe Biden talks a lot about the middle class. Democrats often don't like to talk about the poor because they're scared of losing the white working class voters who resent the poor. Right. This bill centers the poor. This bill and this administration and its economic policy has actually shown a little bit of a cold shoulder to some of the Wall Streeters who've shaped these kinds of responses in the past. This is not a Larry Summers, Robert Rubin administration, which makes it decisively different from the Obama and Clinton years. And finally, ignoring the deficit worrywarts.
So this is more of a Robert Reich approach. This is more of a Bernie Sanders approach. This is more of an Elizabeth Warren approach. This is more of a Ron Wyden approach. This is more of an Andrew Yang approach. And people are starting to cull through this bill, and they're starting to understand all that's in it. All that's in it. The state money, the municipal money, which will allow people to go back to work because municipalities and states had to lay off a whole bunch of people because the tax base is shredded because of this economic crisis. Because of this COVID pandemic, because of the dereliction of duty. And like I said, people are starting to understand that 70% of the tax benefits are going to people making less than $91,000 a year. People are understanding that this money is going to help people with children. It's going to help people without children. It's going to, people who are homeless are going to get a benefit. People who are facing homelessness are going to get a benefit. And there's zero Republican support for this and they have this terrible, tough job of now going out to their red state constituents who will benefit the most because they make less than people in blue states. And they're going to have to tell them this is the work of the devil. I mean, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to say deficits matter. Well, you know what? You want to pay for? Here's a really good one. This bill costs almost exactly what the tax cuts of 2017 cost. It's almost identical, the number. You think that's a coincidence? Because I personally do not. I personally do not think it's a coincidence. I think that the pay for is reversing the tax cut that went out in 2017. That is the Elizabeth Warren approach. It's the Bernie Sanders approach. And I will show you something real quick. Here's what Joe Biden did in the Rose Garden just a few minutes ago.
And I want to say to Bernie, stepping up and making the case why this was so transformational made a big difference in how a lot of people voted.
Bernie, want to thank Bernie for being transformational, made a lot of difference to how people voted. We are finally getting away from trickle-down economics. 50 freaking long years of waiting for something that wasn't like, a golden shower. Just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and repeating talking points that would get people to vote against their own best interests. And when that failed, culture wars. Culture wars. I'm telling you, these Republicans are going to go knocking on people's door. They're going to tell them to give up their $1,400 and beer. I mean, what else? Hey, you come after my 100% genuine Mexican low-carb Corona Premier, which I'm sure is plastic, but it has no carbs. And I'll take you out back with Tucker Carlson with one hand tied behind my back in my 9th month and kick the crap out of you. What's wrong with them? They're going to come after crackers now and Vienna sausages? Holy crap. I don't know. I don't know how they're going to, sell this. I honestly don't. They were not for any of this. And this is transformational. This is revolutionary. The way this bill is structured, the way this bill literally focuses on the middle on down. On the middle on down. Liz Cheney, she said this week, this bill does more harm than good, and the damage it does will only make our recovery efforts more difficult. Kevin McCarthy, the leader of the Republican Party in the House, called the bill a laundry list of left-wing priorities. Yes, that's called people. We're people, Kevin. Mike Lee of Utah, he said, I hate this bill. I hate everything about it. I hate the, and I hate the buts, and I hate every word of this bill, he said. Every single stinking word of this bill. Republican-leaning states generally have lower household incomes, and they will get a larger stimulus check and bigger tax breaks than anybody else in this country. How in the world are they going to convince those people that that is the work of the devil? This isn't black anymore. This isn't white anymore. This is everybody anymore.
Mary had a little ram. The fault. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Help is on the way.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
From the beginning of this, Joe said, we got to tell the stories. We got to tell the stories. We got to show that we understand what the people are experiencing and what they need. And I've been in rooms with Joe when it's just he and I. I've been in rooms with Joe when it's just a small group of our team or when the cameras are there. And he's the same person every time. And he's always talking about what do the people need. And when the president and I were preparing to take office, we knew what we were up against. So we started working on a plan, this plan, the American Rescue Plan. And Mr. President, from the very start, you sought the people out. You asked them, as only Joe can do, how you doing? You listened to what they said, and you remembered what they said. And every day, in every meeting, you reminded us who we were doing this for. The American people.
Oh! There's a switch. There's a change. Not American, not multinational corporations. No. Not the Koch brothers. No. The American people. The people who actually are this country. what a paradigm shift. What a complete 180 from trickle-down economics. This is revolutionary, and that's what I've been trying to get across to people who are very eager to whine and complain. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of a paradigm shift in this country. This is the beginning of putting middle-class working people and people who want to work and people who can't work, disabled people, women who have to stay home with children. This is putting them first. This is understanding what people in this country not just need, but deserve after long last. You know, what is it that would help us have a fighting chance in this country to latch onto an American dream instead of food lines and death and ice trucks outside of hospitals, instead of, you know, people telling us trying to cure poverty is the work of the devil, you know, and saying that, you know, those people get welfare, they're welfare queen. You know, this is how they got people to vote against their own best interests in the first place. And it was such a failed experiment that people just got so frustrated after waiting and waiting and waiting for something good to happen, for some factory to get set up in their town after a mill had closed or after a factory had left. No, and they just kept writing into the tax code more incentive to offshore, more incentive to go find the cheapest labor on this planet. I swear to you, the Republican Party is not going to be happy until they bring back child labor. They're not going to be happy until malnourished 5-year-olds are, you know, cleaning the factory floor, you know, hour after hour after hour, dusk till dawn. That's who they are. It's what they want. Drive down the price of your work and your productivity. And they are all about it. And they can't sell it. They can't sell it. So now their primary objective is to stop you from getting access to your voice. Stop allowing you to get access to your ballot. They are, I mean, you got 253 bills in 43 states, literally overturning things that have been going on in states without any contretemps, without any fraud, without any, nothing. Like Arizona, they've been voting by mail. Almost 80% of people vote by mail in Arizona. They want to end vote by mail in Arizona. They want to end it. Same thing in Georgia. They've been voting by mail without excuses in Georgia since 2005. They want to end it. Because they can't sell what they want for you, which is for you to continue to live in a world where nothing good ever comes to your town, nothing good ever happens to your state. You know, I mean, the only large chunk of cash that your state ever gets is if your state is destroyed in a tornado or a hurricane or a fire. That's it. I'm so sick of it. I'm so tired of it. The food lines, I think, are really what, you know, I mean, this was just January.
A lot of these folks are facing eviction, are waiting hours in their cars, literally hours in their cars, waiting to be able to feed their children as they drive up to a food bank. It's the United States of America, and they're waiting to feed their kids.
We understood it. Jeff in Connecticut.
Hi, Randy.
Hey.
You know, this is the reason I left the Republican Party. Listen to these. I'm mad enough right now to chew two-penny nails, so I'll try to watch my language. But all these guys, there's a word for them. It goes before willow. Now, the only... First of all, trickle-down economics, the only thing George H.W. Bush ever said I agree with when he called it voodoo economics.
Right.
You don't want trickle-down economics. Whatever trickled down evaporates halfway down. What you want is percolate up. Give the money to the people who will spend it, like Dwight Eisenhower did. He borrowed money. He raised taxes on the wealthy. He built an interstate highway system. He built the St. Lawrence Seaway. He built roads and bridges and tunnels and universities and harbors. We had the largest economic expansion in history.
We're about to have it again. You'll see. This is going to be insane, okay? You're going to see this.
Absolutely. I agree with this bill 110%. I mean, I'm not going to get the $1,400 because I make over $80,000 a year. I work very hard for it. But I do have 4 children under 10, and Christian is 6, George is 4, Amanda and Grace just turned 2. I got about $14,000 in tax cuts coming to me.
Yeah.
And also before, what that miserable, no good piece of steaming dog mess Tucker Carlson said.
Oh.
All right. Between active duty and the National Guard, I spent 23 years in the Army. All right? That includes frontline combat duty 4 times. I have 2 Purple Hearts, 2 Bronze Stars, and a Silver Star.
Beautiful.
Now, none of that is
Silver
important.
Star?
Yeah, 2 Bronze Stars and a Silver Star.
Wow.
It's not important. Those medals in $1 will get me a cup of coffee at McDonald's. But for the time I spent in Iraq and Afghanistan, I can tell you the outstanding work our female service members do. Outstanding. They are as efficient and as brave as any soldier I've ever served with. And if Tucker Carlson would take his head out of his backside, he would know that there are strict regulations about what our female service members can do when they get pregnant. All right. And after it was about 5 months, I think most of them are assigned to desk duty, and they get maternity leave after 7. So no female pilot is flying in her 3rd trimester because it's dangerous for her and it's dangerous for the baby. But, I just want to scream. This is why I left the Republican Party.
Well, thank you for doing that and all the other things you've done with your life. Go raise your 4 beautiful children and go in peace. We're about to see an economic boom in this country, a big one, a serious one, an amazing one that actually lifts all boats, all of them. This is the most FDR piece of legislation that I have seen in my entire adult life. I've been waiting. All I could do with regard to Franklin Delano Roosevelt or, Eisenhower, right? All you could do was read about the post-war boom. You couldn't, we're not old enough, right? You'd be in your 90s, I think. You'd be, 80s at least. But now we're about to experience it. We're about to feel it. We're about to see it. We're about to have it. It's going to be awesome.
All things Randi at RandiRhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randi Rhodes Show.
Mormons have a lot of children, don't they? Yes. Mike Lee is from Utah. He hates this bill.
$1.9 trillion of relief that mostly has nothing to do with COVID. And it consists of many hundreds of billions of dollars just for relief for state and local governments, many of which are enjoying revenue surpluses or at least little or no revenue decline because of COVID. But like I say, most of this bill really has nothing to do with COVID itself. This is just a big gift from the Democratic majorities in both houses.
What people point to is, wow, you're going to give me $1,400 check, and you're going to give me $300 per kid under 17.
$3,000.
And we know the average American suffers the most under this. The affluent, the wealthy were able to make adjustments easier by nature of their bracket. So for those watching right now saying, hey, I need that $1,400, Senator Lee, and that tax credit's really going to help, what do you say to them?
Well, first of all, we have to realize that every time the federal government just takes more money and either prints it or borrows it, and here it's somewhat difficult to distinguish between the effects of the two. We know that in the aggregate, it ends up hurting America's poor and middle class more than anyone else. Because they will find, first of all, we're going to be facing inflationary pressures as a result of this. Secondly, every time we borrow more money, it makes it more difficult for us to borrow more money in the future.
He's just making crap up. The man is literally making crap up. They had no problem borrowing the exact same amount for tax cuts for the wealthy in 2017, which they passed through reconciliation too, because no Democrat was voting for that. And so all you got to do is take that back, claw it back, start closing loopholes for freaking big oil, start closing loopholes for pass-through companies. Oh, that's in here? Yeah, that's in here. Yeah, the willingness to actually raise taxes is already evident in this bill. There's $60 billion worth of tax increases in this here bill, in this one. And they're just starting. They're just starting because we need to rearrange the deck chairs because this ship is going down. Going down, food lines and people out of work everywhere. Oh, this has nothing to do with a pandemic. They're giving, cities and states money. Cities and states paid for EMTs. They lost money on public transportation, okay? They lost money on tax collection. People weren't working. They couldn't pay their taxes. They couldn't pay their property taxes. Guess what funds public schools? Yes, you guessed it. Property taxes. Oh my God. He's so devoid of any honesty, not a shred of honesty, let alone decency. You can't get to decency with Mike Lee. You can't get there. Even Mitt Romney, who is his counterpart in Utah, he's also a senator from Utah, obviously, is so for the child tax credit. He is all about it. He wants to make it recurring. Mitt Romney had a bigger amount in mind for the child tax credit, a bigger amount in mind. And one can only deduce it's because Utahns have lots and lots of children, and they would do really well with a child tax credit. It's in here. It's just not as big as Mitt wanted. Did Mitt vote for it? Oh, no. Oh, hell no. Roger Wicker of freaking Mississippi. I mean, where's an egg timer when you need one? Nancy Pelosi actually said, you watch these Republicans, they say no, and then they take the dough. You watch, they're going to do that. And I mean, as soon as the syllable was out of her mouth, as soon as the period was at the end of the sentence, Wicker starts tweeting that, this is great for Mississippians. He was a no vote. So then he said, oh, well, of course I was a no vote. There are a lot of bad provisions in it. So we posed the question. What was the bad provision? Was it the health insurance subsidy to help people who are sick pay and keep their health insurance when they're not working? Was it, people who lost their health insurance that was connected to their job? Was it paying their COBRA payment 100% until September? Was it offering states 100% of the cost to expand Medicaid, like here in Florida, where they refused to do it? Is that a bad one? Paying what? Municipal workers? Like what? Sanitation men? Public school teachers? People who work in transportation, bus drivers, train engineers, that's bad. What part of it was bad for you? What part of it doesn't work for Mississippians? Roger Wicker. Oh my God, they're so full of garbage. They're so full of crap. Victor in Grass Valley, California. I'm sorry, Mike in Alabama. No.
Back in 70.
Okay, Victor.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
Good.
So I just want to let you know I did write this song. Nothing Trickles Down, Mr. Chump. It's pretty funny, actually. It's on YouTube. Kind of hard to find. I'm the mad protestor.
All right. I'm not allowed to play music on the show, so you could, refer us there, but we can't play it.
Yeah. I realize that, but you might enjoy having a listen. It's a pretty funny song, actually. So you might have to look up Victor Doherty and find it on YouTube. But it's worth a listen to.
Okay, is that why you called?
Yes.
All right, then. Lisa in Ulwatch, Tennessee.
Hi, Randy. Happy Friday.
Happy
First
Friday,
time,
you
long
little
time.
bastard. Happy Friday. You know, I know your town. I love your town. I love that lake. I love that whole part of Tennessee.
Yeah. Well, seriously, first time, long time.
Oh, wow.
Thank you. I do have something to thank Trump for.
Oh, yes?
I do. Losing, getting the heck out of the way so that people who actually care can start working for the rest of us.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yes. Thank you, Donald Trump, for being the biggest loser.
But people who actually care are doing stuff.
Mm-hmm. They are.
We're getting vaccinations. We're getting help.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're about to see this economy take off. You're about to see something really big happen here. Robert in Aberdeen, Washington.
Hello.
Hello.
I was calling to refer about, I don't know if you ever seen on the OAN network, they had this tally chart of how much in the hundreds of billions that are being given to illegal aliens.
No. not
You never
any.
saw that? Oh,
I don't watch propaganda. I'm sorry. I only read newspapers.
No.
Is basically what I do.
Well, what I was trying to get you to do is have your own tally of how much welfare is being given to Walmart workers, McDonald's workers, taxpayers' money, because their corporations won't pony up decent wages for them.
Call in, connect. To speak to Randy, call 561-270-3844. 561-270-3844.
The Republican obsession with cancel culture is actually a bit ironic because they're busy trying to cancel your votes. Remember, more than 250 bills that would restrict voting are making their way through state legislatures. That's 7 times more than this time last year. And it's mostly a reaction to the big lie about election fraud, part of this bizarro world where election integrity is a feel-good way of saying voter suppression.
Yes.
Iowa's governor just signed a law that would restrict early voting. The Arizona GOP wants to allow the state legislature to overturn the will of the people and select presidential electors. And then, of course, there's Georgia, with a full court press to restrict voting, including rolling back no-excuse absentee ballots. And that provoked yet another case of Republicans saying the quiet part out loud. In this case, failed far-right Senate candidate Lauren Witzke of Delaware.
We will never win again. We will not have a prayer in 2022 or 2024 if we do not get election reform. So I'm going to save Georgia. Right now, we are pushing through a bill that gets rid of vote by mail, that requires voter ID, bans the ballot drop boxes. It will cut Stacey Abrams off at the knees. Like I said, I only care about winning.
Yeah, not subtle.
No, not subtle. Not subtle at all. And it's the only way that Republicans can ever win again. America is changing, and a lot of people are going to benefit greatly from the new administration's policies and their focus on growing this here economy. A lot of people are going to do really well really soon. And the Republicans know it. So let's not kid ourselves. Okay. Their cancel culture war thing is fake. It's fraud. What their agenda truly is canceling you and your vote. That's the cancel culture they're about. That's what they're for. Because just like I've been saying all day, there is no way that they can keep themselves or get the majority back by preaching trickle-down economics. So they have to, and the culture wars are hardly working anymore because there's no such thing as the welfare queen. It's everybody now. It's everybody. Everybody got the crap kicked out of them in the last, I'll say, 4 years. And we're about to have a revolutionary time of it. It's going to be unbelievable. So what are they going to do? They're going to less time to vote, no vote by mail, Georgia and Texas. They've got all kinds of diverse electorates, and they are going to tamp down the ability to get access to the ballot. Iowa, Texas, Arizona. I mean, the whole thing. It's all about canceling you. Because they make fun of us waking up to the fact that trickle-down doesn't work. They make fun of us waking up to the fact that they have been gunning for working people for 50 years and telling us to just, blame somebody else. Everybody woke up. Everybody knows. And that's even separate and apart from the things that we know about our justice system. We've known for a really long time, if you have money, you could do whatever you want in this country. I mean, Donald Trump has gotten away with crimes and criminal activity in his organization for God knows how long. The worst thing that ever happens to him is, he runs a fraudulent university and he steals $34,000 from a student over and over and over. All the students are bilked out of, their hard-earned savings, believing that Donald Trump University is going to teach them how to be a real estate magnate. It's going to teach them how to, do stuff. And it's worthless. It was a lie. So the worst thing that happens is he pays $25 million in a settlement. That's rich people justice. The former governor of Florida, who's now a senator, his company pleaded guilty to 14 felonies. And when I say his company, it's his. He's the one that invented it. He's the one that created HCA. Okay? And what did he do? He paid doctors to send patients to his hospitals. And then once that happened, he literally created records for those patients that made them sicker than they actually were so that he could bill Medicare for procedures that weren't necessary. The man made billions of dollars, got caught, paid a couple of $1 million in a fine, walked away with $300 million worth of stock, $5 million in cash, and a salary of $980,000 a year for 5 years. That's rich people justice. And they like it this way. They are not interested in you finding this out. Now, I know what the last caller was talking about. He just phrased it really poorly. What he was saying is that Walmart, this mega corporation that pays no taxes, Walmart is too cheap to pay a living wage to people that work there. And so they offshore it. What does that mean? Well, Walmart workers get government benefits like SNAP. Right? They get government help to pay for food because Walmart gets away with not paying them a living wage. And so we subsidize Walmart that way too. What a scam they got going on. This is the ultimate con game. It is. And we're done with it. I really believe things are about to change. And I really believe that once Americans get a taste of it, a feel for what real freedom is, what good government can do. You see, this whole thing with Ronald Reagan telling you that government isn't the solution, government is the problem. No, bad government is the problem. And that's what we've had here since Ronald Reagan. Bad government for living things, for children and working people. Bad government, union busting, and corporate giveaways, and subsidies for the wealthiest industries. And for once, it seems to me that we have a president and a Congress that's done with that really wants to do something for Americans, for people. I have high hopes here, as you can tell. Teresa in Hawaii.
Yeah, hi. I was just wondering if you knew anything about how they garnish a stimulus check because of like private debt. And it's not from the IRS or anything, but that happened to my kid brother with the first and second one. He hasn't received the second one as yet either. So, do you know anything about it?
No, I don't.
When I spoke to Tom Hartman when Ro Khan was there, they both didn't know about it. They were going to check on it, but then Tom got a thing in his ear saying, yeah, it was in yesterday's news. I read about it in an article on the CNET.com. They had an article about, the stimulus check. And I didn't see anything about there in it. So I just wondered if you knew anything about it.
So from what I understand, you can't garnish it for back taxes or child support, but if there's private debt, it can be.
Wow.
If there's like a judgment from a credit card company, is that kind of what you're thinking?
No, he never had a credit card.
Well, what's the
that I know of?
I don't know who the private debt is owed to, but if if he owes private debt, yes, it can be. Yeah.
So, some people don't know about it either.
Yeah, but not for back child support or for back taxes. No.
This is the Randi Rhodes Show. To speak with Randi, dial 561-270-3844. That's 561-270-3844.
Happy birthday, Brett. Yeah, there's another good thing happening today. It's not just that Brett was born tomorrow, actually, right? It's not just that. There is a surprise match day now for the spring pledge drive for Free Speech TV. All week long, we've been telling you that if we got 300 new donors, that we could match that with another $5,000 donation. Well, now we have another $5,000 donation from Tracy and Robert in New York, Steve in Virginia, and John and Diane in Colorado. And so if you're not a first-time donor, go ahead and do it today because your donation will be doubled up to $5,000. So if you're a long-time loyal donor, you can double your impact today by donating today. If you're a first-time donor, in addition to the impact that you will have helping us grow, you will also be helping us unlock that additional $5,000. So today's a very big money day for us. Very, very big. So if you're a first-time donor, 877-378-8669. We just need a few to reach our goal. Just a few first-timers. If you are a long-timer, today is a match day up to $5,000. You can do that at freespeech.org or just on the phone, as you know, 877-378-8669. Thank you so very freaking much. Thank you very, very much. All right, let's do Doug in Denver.
Hi, Randi.
Hi.
I had some good news regarding all the voter suppression laws that are being passed in the South. The H.R. 1 will require precincts based on population. So if H.R. 1 can pass, and we need to get it passed, it is really important, then all of these changes they're making could backfire because it could actually cause the people that they're trying to protect to wait in lines too.
So that is what's going to happen when you look at like Arizona, okay? 80% of the people in Arizona vote by mail. So, yes, they will be added to the wait lines. They will be added to the hours and hours that people have to stand out there waiting to cast their ballots. And the reason why the Republicans are for this is because anything that suppresses the vote is good for them. There are more of us than there are of them, and they know that, and that's why they're doing it. As far as H.R. 1 goes, H.R. 1 creates independent commissions, 5 Republicans, 5 Democrats, and 5 unaffiliated, to draw the district maps instead of all this gerrymandering that goes on in order to dilute the vote of the Democrats, because there are more of us. Now, the way to get H.R. 1 done is to carve out an exception for civil rights bills, like we carved out an exception to the filibuster for judicial appointments. And then we can pass H.R. 1. H.R. 1 will never get passed with any Republican help in the Senate. Period. End of story. Here's Mike Lee telling you how much he hates H.R. 1.
What's your biggest problem with the way the Democrats want to redo how we vote in America?
Yeah,
Steve, I think I disagree with every single word in H.R. 1, including the words but and the. Everything about this bill is rotten to the core. This is a bill as if written in hell by the devil himself.
You know, these people are, like I said, everything is going to be, evil now. Everything is evil. So voter suppression is what they're for. And anything that draws fair districts with independent commissions doing that map drawing based on the census, based on population, as our person in Denver, Doug in Denver, just said, that's the work of the devil. Relieving poverty for children or for homeless people or for people that are about to be home, that's the work of the devil. Everything is the work of the devil, according to them. And they need to suppress every adult voice in this country from having access to the ballot because they know they will never win again. You heard that woman in one of the clips there. She said, all I care about is winning, and if I have to suppress the vote, then fine, let me do it. I just don't care. And Donald Trump said it. If you had, free and fair elections in this country, if you allowed for people to, mail in their ballot and not stand on 9, 10-hour, 11-hour lines, you would never see another Republican president ever again. They know. They know. And you know what else they know? They know that this economy is about to really take off. They know it. They know we're going to see 6.5%, 7% growth. They know it. And they know that this election is not going to go well for the Republicans. And so they have got to stop this voter suppression effort that is all over the place. I mean, listen, Mark Elias, I don't know if you know who Mark Elias is. You need to know who he is. Mark Elias is the attorney that actually fought all of these Donald Trump fraud cases, okay? His firm, and Mark Elias was the lead attorney on all of these cases, defending our ability to hold a free and fair election. Mark Elias is one of the, he's not the only reason, but he's one of the reasons that Donald Trump's ridiculous lawsuits failed 62 times in 62 different courts. First of all, they had no merit. Second, there was no evidence. They couldn't produce one shred of evidence. They like to talk about it on the TV all the time. Oh, we have this evidence. We have evidence. They've never presented one shred of evidence that there was any fraud or any machines flipping votes or anybody stealing Dropbox ballots or anybody doing anything, ballot harvesting. No, there was no evidence at all. Mark Elias is trying to send a message the other day. He was on Rachel's show, okay? And he follow him on Twitter. Okay, he's got a website called Democracy Docket where he tracks all these cases that, he defends us and our right to vote. It's amazing. But he said this is different. This effort at voter suppression, it's very different.
It's just different this time. And this is not to say that there are not other problems in the world. I recognize that there are other stories that have to be covered. But I am begging America and the media to pay attention to this. Right now, we are facing an avalanche of voter suppression that we have not seen before, at least not since Jim Crow, in state after state. It's not just Iowa. It's not just Georgia. It's not just Arizona. It's also Montana. It's also Missouri. It's also Florida. It's also Texas. The list goes on and on. Donald Trump told a big lie that has led to a assault on democracy in the Capitol on January 6th. The assaults we're seeing going on now in state capitals with the legislatures may be less deadly and be less violent, but they are every bit as damaging to our democracy.
Take that seriously, because this guy is a voting rights attorney, and he was in the courtrooms where no evidence was presented of any truth to that big lie, of any voter fraud. Okay, and that's why the Trump cases failed each and every time one was, argued in front of a judge. Now, you just had this guy argue in front of the Supreme Court from Arizona. What's his name? Craven. Oh, what a great name. And he actually was in front of the Supreme Court justice, and Amy Covid Barrett asked him, why are you interested in suppressing the vote? And he said point blank, because if we don't, we will never win again. Now, that is intent. That is intent to rig the vote. I can't even imagine that in any other time with any other Supreme Court makeup, there wouldn't be a 9-0 decision saying, get out of here. Just go away. I just can't imagine. There are 250 plus bills in 43 states trying to suppress your vote only because the Republicans have been caught doing nothing for you. They have been caught being derelict in their duty. They have been caught not defending the Capitol. They've been caught giving all the money to their friends and their donors. You know, I mean, when you look at our governor here, okay, we've had criminals as governors in Florida as long as I can remember. I mean, the last decent governor that we had, the first decent governor we had was Lawton Childs, and then we had Bob Graham, who was amazing. But that was it. That was it. Now we've had criminals. Now Ron DeSantis is selling vaccines. He just got caught. If you think that those... Oh, you want to hear something I heard? I don't know if this is true or not. I'll leave you with this on Friday, okay? This is just something I heard. I didn't read it. It hasn't been fact-checked. You know how, like, when a story comes out and they'll say, CNN is reporting, but NBC was not able to confirm it? It's one of those deals where I heard it, but I can't confirm it. But what I heard was that Ron DeSantis, his entire purpose of being protected in Florida by the Trump administration was because when if Trump lost and he needed to go on trial in New York or Georgia, right? Georgia for soliciting voter fraud, then DeSantis's job would be to deny extradition of Donald Trump to Georgia for trial or to New York for trial, because Donald Trump lives here in Florida. It's just what I heard. I don't know if it's true yet. But, I mean, this is a criminal enterprise. And a lot of people already know it, and some people are about to find out, because when things change, they're going to say, what took so long? And we will be able to explain it better. It's easier when they're feeling good to show them how it can continue than it is when they're feeling bad to show them how good they could have it if they would just stop being part of the death cult. Have a great weekend, everybody. Happy birthday, Brett.